All right, today we want to talk to you about life beyond macros. Why are you counting macros? It seems like many years ago, I guess it was a year and a half ago, I posted something on Instagram. It was a picture of strawberries on a food scale, and I said, I will not be weighing my strawberries forever. This is temporary. I have goals, and that's exactly right. I mean, why? You've got to have an end game here. And so today we want to talk to you a little bit about what are you going to do after macros? And Tracy is going to share what she's currently doing.
Yeah, it's been so exciting. So these last, I think it's been
6 weeks or so?
Yeah, over 6 weeks. I decided I wasn't going to track my macros anymore, and partly because I want other clients that do our program to feel like you can move on from here. You do not have to be a slave to MyFitnessPal for the rest of your life. And I felt like I had to prove that in order to tell other people that they could, because the truth of the matter is that counting macros gives you so much control. Counting macros allows you to factor in foods that you love in a quantity that you understand that you have a limit, and at the end of the day you want to hit those numbers. And so there's so much benefit to having that little accountability tool. So again, I thought what's next? If you don't want to have that accountability tool, if you don't want to have your face in the phone all the time and you feel good about how you look, then what does that look like? So I started with, and I also felt like I was at the point where I was eating a lot of cheat foods with my macros. And so I was like, I know that if I am going to make this work without MyFitnessPal, I have to get back to eating whole foods, and I can't, program in all of those treats because I'm not going to have anywhere to program in. So I started with really clean eating, and I said, okay, I'm not going to look at my food. I'm not going to look at MyFitnessPal, but I am going to focus on eating balanced and eating whole foods. And I also wasn't really restricting. If I was hungry, I was going to eat it. And so that's kind of, as long as it was a whole food and it was a balanced meal. So things like protein bars, those are things that I could eat 10 protein bars in one sitting because they don't really fill you up, but they're delicious.
Right.
So those are things that you can easily program in and move on from. But when you don't have that accountability tool,
But you've probably learned through experience that maybe a protein bar a day is okay.
Exactly.
I'm not going to have 3 or 4
Exactly.
protein bars.
So what I mean is, just because I'm not tracking my macros in MyFitnessPal doesn't mean that macros no longer exist.
Right.
And so I stayed away from foods that were my trigger foods that I didn't feel confident shutting myself off with right away. So in the beginning, it was like, okay, I'm not going to have ice cream because I feel like I don't know is one bowl good enough? Is 2 bowl, am I going to? So just in the beginning, I was really, I honed in on my food quality a ton. And I feel like that helped. It set the tone for, yes, I know that I'm not going to never have ice cream again, but I need to feel what my hunger level actually feels like so I can intuitively eat. So then slowly I have just been focusing on staying balanced and listening to my hunger levels. And again, like I said, it's not about, you'll quickly learn when you're tracking your macros, that there are certain things that fill you up more than others. And so I was focusing on those foods that just kept me full. And so it's been great. And I just kind of look at my plate and I think about eating balanced meals every meal, which is a little bit different than when you track your macros, because you can have pancakes in the morning and then have a really high, heavy protein meal at dinner. And I've realized that I feel so much better when I eat balanced meals every single meal, which is just another switch. I also am going into this knowing that my body composition isn't going to get better. And that was a big thing for me, because I know there's a tool that I have that we've created that is very effective. And so if I want to get my body composition better, I'll just go back to tracking my macros. So if there's an event or something, like if I've got a vacation coming up and I want to tighten the reins, then I can go back to tracking my macros. But in the meantime, I'm just enjoying the fact that I feel confident with what I look like, and plus or minus, a few pounds or whatever. And but that is the addicting part of macros, is you can always look better. every single person can look better than they already look. And so at what point are you ever going to like shut that off and say, I'm fine with how I look right now, and so I'm going to step away, not weigh my strawberries, and just try to eat a balanced meal.
So what do you recommend to someone who's thinking about shifting into intuitive eating?
Yeah, I mean,
just being more loosely tracking, probably not weighing those strawberries, but
yes,
still tracking.
That is a great way to transition. You know, don't necessarily weigh or measure. You can just think about, you know, go back to this looks like, you know, a handful of vegetables, or, you know, use common.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm finally at the point where I'm not intuitively eating yet, but I'm at the point where I'm going to say, okay, an ounce of cheese looks about like this.
Yes.
And I think that's just a good way to
It's a really good way to ease into it. And then again, if you're wanting to get away from the tracker, the whole MyFitnessPal altogether, then you need to make sure that you make a list of foods that trigger you and be aware of them. Pizza is one of those things where it's not that I can't have pizza, but can I really do I have the restraint? So we went to a birthday party today. Actually, this is so funny because I ate a really good balanced breakfast. I'm having a protein smoothie a day. I'm feeling really good. And then we go to this birthday party and there's pizza there for lunch. And I just remember sitting at the table thinking, I would totally program in a piece of pizza and put those in my macros. And I was like thinking in my head, okay, I'm not tracking my macros. Can I just have the one slice of pizza and turn away? Yeah. And I did. I just had one slice of pizza and it was great.
Please tell me you had one.
Yes, I had a slice of pizza and it was fine. And also, you know, last night, this is another big victory. My husband and I went on a date, and whenever I'm tracking my macros, I am, you know, vigilant about tracking. And then I go on date night and I have like these huge splurges because I knew I was going to be tracking the next day. And so I better get all of my non-tracking out, as silly as that sounds. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes we just kind of have that on-off mentality. And so last night we went out to dinner and I ordered a totally balanced meal that was steak, potatoes, and vegetables. And I ate half of it. And I didn't feel this urge to like scarf down as much of the food as I could because tomorrow's going to be macro day. And so it's been a lot of little victories like that have built my confidence. Like, I can do this without looking at the phone, without being in MyFitnessPal. I can still eat balanced, but it does take a little bit extra, you know, intentional. Yeah. It takes an extra level of motivation and kind of accountability on your own part.
Right.
So, but again, the beauty of it is that we have this incredible tool. If you feel like this is getting out of control, I can't set those parameters and those limits for myself, then go back to hitting your numbers. So,
at least temporarily.
Yeah, at least temporarily. But again, know that we can always look better. You can always, and so many of our clients, I mean, they look incredible and they still are not satisfied with what they see. And that breaks my heart. Because, and also those same women that are not satisfied with themselves look at other women and praise them, you know, 50,000 times. And I think it's just such a hard thing for us to give ourselves the same love that we give to other people around us. There are women that would kill to have your body composition, and yet we still see that it's not good enough.
We still want to make progress.
Yes. Yeah. And so I think just having that mental, you know, that feeling of, I feel great where I'm at. I think I can sustain this eating balanced meals, then that might be a good time. So that's it.
Great.